The next one is Delta Resources. Delta Resources is a $35 million company. Ticker symbols are DLTA, over in Toronto on the Ventures Exchange. And I also have 6G01 over here in Frankfurt. They are also on a greenstone belt, and that covers 17 kilometers of a very difficult to pronounce shear zone that I hope Frank is going to do a better job than me pronouncing here. So Frank over here is their VP of Corporate Development. So Frank, you have about 15 minutes. Good luck.
Thank you. The difference between a very well-capitalized company and a company that wasn't so well-capitalized was the quality of the presentation material. So I have to say that was a very nice presentation. But what really matters is what's happening on the ground. So my name is Frank Candido. I'm the chairman of the company. And I'm also the IR person. We spend very little money at Delta, so we make use of all the resources we have to extend our dollar as much as we can. But things have changed for us in the last 2 weeks, and I'll explain in a second. Okay, perfect. I'm going to make a very big forward-looking statement right now. I believe, and we believe, that this could be the largest gold discovery in Canada in 2023. So hopefully that got your attention. And then let me show you some information if you don't already know about the company. So we have 2 properties, but we're not going to talk about Quebec. The funny thing is that when we started this project in 2019, when we sat around the table, Quebec was where we thought we would get the bang for the buck. And, with a little bit of luck, because you do need luck in this business, as you know, most companies fail to succeed at finding anything economic. But with a little bit of luck, we were able to find something really substantive in Ontario. So we're not talking about Quebec anymore. We talk about Ontario. We're on the Shabandawan Greenstone Belt. It's easy to pronounce. In fact, that black line at the top is the Trans-Canada Highway. In Canada, we have a highway system that connects the east coast of the country to the west coast of the country, and you can travel across Canada on that one highway. And we're literally just south of the Trans-Canada Highway. So that does pose a challenge in that we cannot crisscross the highway with our drill rig. So for now, we're drilling south of the highway and making do with drilling that way. But eventually, when we do get a second drill, which we will discuss in a second, we will likely have a drill on the north side of the highway, which will give us a lot more options in terms of our drilling plan. We've got 17 kilometers of strike on this belt. Until we got there, there was only one other company on the entire belt. It's a greenstone belt, like the Abitibi as an example, but there was only one other company, which was 50 kilometers west of us, called Goldshore Resources. And I believe they may be here. Is Goldshore attending this conference? I'm not sure. Anyway, they've got about 4.5 million ounces of gold, but they're 50 kilometers away, and our project looks a little bit different than theirs. Eureka was the discovery. This is, when we acquired it, there was a prospector that had done some work, some grab samples that graded high grade. We took the project from him, and we did a till survey. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And we got a huge amount of gold grains in our till survey. So there was just gold everywhere at surface. So we thought this project has to give something at some point. But at the beginning, we started with a 1,000-meter drill campaign, not knowing a lot. And although we got gold in some of the holes, it wasn't anything that interesting. So it was a bit slow out of the gate. But we're going to sort of forward a bit here. Really, when things started to get interesting is when we published Hole 18, which was in October of last year. So let's look at Delta October of last year. We had very little money in the bank. We intersected a hole of 5.92 grams per ton over 31 meters, which included 14.8 grams per ton over 11.9 meters. All this did was create a liquidity event for investors that had invested previously in Delta, and they were able to sell their shares into this liquidity event. So the stock actually didn't even go up. There was a wide range of trading that day, but at the end of the day, we actually closed down a little bit, which was surprising. And then in December of the same year, things had not really improved in terms of the overall market. And we raised a small financing, a few $1 million to continue the project. And really, things started to change in a drastic way in January of this year. So this is where essentially we've been drilling, and this is approximately 1.5 kilometers. And what we've decided to do is we decided to drill 100-meter step-out holes. And every 100 meters, we would drill from the same drill pad 2 holes on 2 different angles. And we started to intersect, and by the way, all this is from surface, and the deepest holes are approximately 200 meters vertical depth. And I'll explain to you why we stop at 200 meters. It has to do with economics, and not economics, but it has to do with, the cash we had on hand, and nothing to do with, stopping the hole. 2.06 grams per ton over 65.8 meters, including 4.3 grams per ton over 26.2 meters, 1.29 grams over 129 meters, 1.15 grams over 89.7 meters, et cetera, et cetera. They're all published on our website. So these are tremendous intercepts. They all begin at surface. And we've been able to now extend this for 1.5 kilometers. And taking these 100-meter step-out holes, which one could deem as somewhat risky, but we did it and we got success. And this is just literally looking at the same holes, but looking at them vertically. And so because we drill on an angle, the holes are approximately 300 meters in terms of length, but like I said, they're all approximately within 200 meters. And many of the holes ended in mineralization. We simply stopped the holes at that level because we wanted to continue the program of drilling 100 meters step out heading to the east. So now this is where things get really interesting. So our company goes from a stock which is trading in the pennies to a stock that hit a 61 cents as a high. I think our 30-day average trading volume was easily over 1 million shares. Many days we were trading over 2 million shares, lots of liquidity. But really people were nervous because we did that financing in December, and obviously they figured, those people made quite a bit of money, tripling, quadrupling their money. If anyone, if you follow the rules of investing, if you triple, quadruple your money, you probably should take the profits and think about whether or not you want to stay invested in the company. Most people did, but because of the liquidity that we had, it was very easy to soak up that stock, and we did. So there are 3 holes left. In January, we started a program of about 3,000 meters, and there are only 3 holes left to be reported. The last of the 3 holes, I wish I had a pointer and I wish I had the fancy pen and the pad, but hopefully the next time you see me, we will have all that. But if you see where that star is, okay, that's, where the last line is, I'm gonna step off and point to it. Right here, drill 38, that's the last hole from the January drill campaign that ended in March. And there's only 3 holes, so 38 is the last of the 3 holes. I actually brought a piece of core to show you. And the interesting thing is that we intersect visible gold in many of our drill holes. And at the beginning, maybe some speculators or investors thought, well, it's an anomaly. You intersected visible gold. But we intersect visible gold so often. And when you're doing 100-meter step-outs, is it truly an anomaly anymore when you keep intersecting visible gold on those type of step-outs? I'll let you guys be the judge. But this is the last hole that has not been reported, and I'll pass this around. And so if you look, the 1.5 kilometers that we discussed, this is 7,000 meters of total drilling. from day one when we started in 2019. We acquired the project in October 2019 and drilled our first holes in November 2019, not really knowing what we were doing at that time. So if you sort of take away the early holes and you focus on the rest, it's really 5,000 meters of total drilling. And we're intersecting gold on the left-hand side. If you look, those are mag lows. The blue, the cool colors are mag lows. And we're intersecting gold in the mag lows. And if you look to the right, where our program, we announced 2 weeks ago that we were beginning a 5,000 meter drill campaign. At the time, 2 weeks ago, we had $2.5 million in the bank. And so that drill campaign has begun. The first hole will be the twin to this hole. Remember, we drilled 2 holes from the same drill pad in every 100 meters. So the first hole actually did not step out 100 meters, but the second hole will step out 100 meters, as we said. And it'll be the first real hole in that intensified mag low. So this hole, hole 38, is literally on the edge of the mag low. So if our geological team is correct in their assumptions or their predictions, the worst case scenario should be that we continue to intersect what we've been intersecting up until now. The best case scenario is that the grade will even improve as we move east. Time will tell, but we'll see that soon. So I'll just pass this around. So once we announced this program, and we had announced, in a very sort of systematic fashion, the drill results of the previous drilling with only the 3 holes left, and we can anticipate those last 3 holes as early as next week. Most of the data has come in, or I was told actually last evening. I don't know what the results are. I haven't seen any of the data, and I'm neither a geologist or an engineer, so they wouldn't mean much to me. But the fact is that most of that information is likely in, or should be in, by early next week, in which case we should be able to turn around and announce that sometime next week. And while that is happening, we continue drilling. So we were approached by many majors. In fact, we've signed NDAs with 5 of them. In fact, we signed them at PDAC even before we announced many of these holes. The way we see this is we're looking to show size. We believe that there could be size in terms of a mine here. We absolutely believe we already have a mine. We believe it's already open pittable, given that it starts right at surface. The question now to us is not whether we have a mine, but how big a mine can this be? So we want to continue on that program. And so we were approached by a bunch of banks, and we closed a $7 million bought deal last week. And on the same day, that bought deal was up to $8 million because it's all spoken for. And likely by the time it closes the week after next, because now it's just the paperwork, et cetera, it should be about $10 million. That's what we anticipate. So now all of a sudden we go from this company that had no money, not great presentation materials, the chairman coming to do presentations because the president has to be somewhere else, to a company that has a little bit of money in the bank, has the ability to have a second drill at our disposal so that we can have a drill on the other side of the highway, and possibly go back to the west where we started the program, now understanding what that structure looks like and how to intersect that structure, and maybe even accelerate it with a third rig. We'll see. Time will tell. But the point is we now have the ability to really open this up. And what we're really looking to do is to demonstrate size. And we think the most effective way to spend our money today is not to drill deeper holes. We may consider drilling a hole or 2 deeper as part of the new campaign, but the point is we want to continue to drill to the east. And by the way, we own another 1.5 kilometers east of that, so it continues. But because of our made at-home presentation materials, we couldn't fit it on a map on our deck. But hopefully the next time around, we'll have a map that shows the entirety of what we've got. So I think times are really exciting. We're a $35 million Canadian market cap company, which isn't even real money if you deal in euros or US dollars. We're fully funded, so we don't need to raise money. There's no overhang of stock from previous financings that you have to worry about. The people that have invested in this round are large institutions that I think they see the potential for this to really, open up. And so I don't think you're going to have to worry about them in 4 months. And if we have success in the next part of this campaign, in the early parts of this campaign, I think that people will be able to connect the dots and see that not only is that forward-looking statement that I said early on a possibility, but a likely outcome. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? All right, I have one. $10 million, $35 million company, that's quite a lot. What did that do to you in terms of dilution to the insider ownership?
Well, listen, you're in an environment where it's difficult to raise cash. No one knows what's going to happen to the gold price. I mean, we're all bullish. I think everyone in this room is bullish gold, but, I've been bullish gold for 3 years. And, if I would have, participated in that, who knows how well I would have done. The bottom line is this, is that our stock was in an upward trajectory. And like I said, we went from 10 cents, 8 cents to 61 cents. At some point, you need to pull the trigger. And we had pressure put on us of people wanting to get into the story and not being able to buy enough stock in the market without moving the market. And if you look at what price we did it at 45 cents on the hard cash, which was our 15-day moving average. So how can someone argue with that? And on the charity flow through, we did it at 63 cents, which was even a premium to the high that we had traded at. So I think it was a very good financing for the company. And in terms of dilution, I think that the dilution has been kept to a minimum. Based on where we had to finance previously, where we were financing, at 10, 12, 13 cents. So I think it's an excellent financing, not only for the company, but for, the remaining shareholders of Delta Resources. And it gives us the cash to really do what we need to do to take this project to a new level, which we believe is going to, accelerate the valuation of this company.
Good job. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.